Okay, great. Awesome. So welcome everyone. My name is Dakota, but you can call me Cody. And I will be running the internship program this year or this summer. I am the Forest Resilience Projects Manager here at YVSC. I've been here for about 1.5 years. I was initially hired to do zero waste, so I helped launch the depot. If you're not familiar, it's the hard to recycle materials facility on the west side of town. So we take like electronics, light bulbs, that kind of stuff. And then I started doing events, so helping with coordinate composting and recycling at local events. And that's kind of what I've been doing for the last year. And more recently, I stepped into this internship program manager and also going to be helping YVSC build a forest resilience program, which I'm really, really excited about. A little bit about me. I went to Colorado State University for my undergrad and currently for my master's online. I got my degree in ecosystem science and sustainability, and my master's is in ecological restoration. So if you ever want to talk about any of that stuff, I'm happy to go through my experience. And YVSC is really excited to have you guys. Like I was saying, there's 2 more interns that'll be part of the summer program, Tyler and Ellie, who you'll meet tomorrow. And we also have Marguerite. She's been kind of an ongoing intern since the fall. She started a project doing art and sustainability, and she is launching an event that's going to happen in July. So she's kind of stayed with us to help coordinate that, and you'll meet her tomorrow. And then we also have an intern that's kind of sharing YVSC and CW3E, which I actually can't remember what the acronym stands for, so very sorry. But she's doing a water internship, and she's going to be partnering with Maddie, who you'll meet tomorrow as well. So I'm going to save most of the meat and potatoes for tomorrow when everybody's here, but I really wanted to at least get started and record and share with everyone because there's a lot to go over, and I just didn't want it to be like a 5-hour meeting tomorrow. So thanks for coming today. And seriously, help yourself to some treats. They're delicious. If you haven't been to Beard and Braid, it's right across the street, which is very nice. So a little bit about YVSC. We are a nonprofit, a 501(c)(3) or C3, I always mess that up. But this is kind of our main logo that explains our mission, which is to be a catalyst and a resource for building sustainable and resilient Yampa Valley. And then our vision is a healthy, resilient Yampa Valley united through climate action. So kind of getting community engaged through programming is generally how we move these things forward. And we have our 5 priority areas, which are waste diversion, energy, transportation, community engagement, and resilient land and water. So each of those sectors kind of has a director. So there's like a head of each section, and then some of those sectors have counterparts as well that help move forward some of those programs. So the people that work in those areas are going to be your staff mentors, which have been assigned to you. And I printed out your project proposals, which I'm going to apologize right now. It's kind of like my notes, so it's not the most formal written out layout right now, but it's something that we're going to work together on to formalize so that you're feeling really comfortable with what you're going to be working on. So I'll pass those out so you can have a look at what you'll be doing. And some of you will share a mentor, and some of you will have more than one mentor, and that is just kind of the best way that we can get you the most holistic idea of your project and the most relevant help for exactly what you're going to be doing. So I think all of you actually, or Chloe and Ellie are both going to be working with Ryan in Resilient Land and Water, helping him with restoration projects in kind of 2 slightly different ways, or sorry, Macy. You're actually going to be with me and Ryan, and Chloe will be with Ryan, and Isabella, you'll be with Ashley, who works on collaborative initiatives, which I don't know if you're familiar with the climate action plan of Routt County, but most cities or counties have a climate action plan. Ours was created in 2020. And so YVSC is the managerial entity for moving those initiatives forward. So Ashley's role is super important in engaging all the working groups and public engagement and like city government to really hone in on what our goals are and how to do those. So that is a really exciting place to be. So every week I will have an agenda for our meetings, and as long as this is a different time frame than we'll normally meet, I think I scheduled Mondays from 10 to 12 will be a weekly meeting, if that still works for everybody. And I'll send out the agenda like Sunday night so that you can see what we're going to be looking at the next day, and it's kind of to set you up for that week. So I'll always be keeping you on track through my emails and agendas on like what you should be doing. And we'll go over due dates and all your assignments and stuff in a little bit. So without getting too into the weeds about the internship program, let's do a quick intro for you guys. I think it'd be fun to just say your name and maybe where you're going to school, if you're going to school right now, and maybe share like your favorite book. And if you don't have a favorite book, your favorite movie or something like that. So if anyone would like to start, how about Macy?
I'm Macy. I go to Clemson University in South Carolina. I'm a wildlife biology major, and my favorite movie is Almost Famous.
Good one. Nice.
I'm Isabella. I go to school at Rollins College in Florida. I'm studying environmental studies, and I'm reading a lot of books right now, actually. So I'm reading the series of Frozen Glass. So I'm really enjoying that.
Cool.
It's
awesome.
I'm Chloe. I go to CMC here, and I'm a sustainability studies major. And I'm reading a lot of books right now too, but I'm reading Dune, and that's really good.
Yeah. I love Dune. Awesome. That's great. Another Dune fan. Great. Well, my name is Dakota. Again, I go by Cody, but truly either is fine. And my favorite book is Braiding Sweetgrass. And if you haven't read it, you absolutely will love it. I just know that you will. It's a fantastic, beautifully written book by a very, very smart woman. So yeah, thanks for sharing. We're going to have Michelle, our executive director, come in here soon to introduce herself and the organization a little bit. But until then, I can kind of keep going over some of the introductory things and give you an idea of what the summer is going to look like. So we mainly communicate via email, which Kate will be setting you guys up later on after Michelle comes in and after we talk a little bit more about your assignments, and we're going to go over the handbook. Then we're going to have Kate come in and she's going to set everyone up with their YVSC email. So you'll get a specific email just for you, and you'll use that primarily for all your communications while you're here. And we use the Google Drive for pretty much everything. So if you're familiar with it, then you'll be happy about that. If you're not familiar with it, it might just take a little bit to get used to. It's pretty intuitive, but you know, it's like any kind of computer program. It might just take a minute, but we have everything on there that you will need. So I can show you really quickly. This is what your drive will look like. And this is in the YVSC internship program folder. And then you can see interns summer 2023. And here is where we have everything that you'll need. So weekly meetings, if you ever need to see those, templates for assignments, and you'll just kind of make copies of those and you can put them in your own folder. As you can see, everybody's got their own folder. I don't think that they have anything in them. Yeah. So you'll be populating those as assignments come in, but everything will be here for you. So you should never have to be wondering where you have to go to find an assignment or a template or a link or anything like that. And then along the bottom here is everything that we all want to have access to collectively. So the contact list, this is everyone at the organization who you'll meet tomorrow, and then including all of you, your YVSC emails and your phone numbers. So if you ever need to get in touch with anyone, that information is there for you. And then these are all of our due dates for the summer, which I won't overwhelm you with right now. But we have when it's assigned, the week it's due, and then if there's a rough draft or a final draft, it specifies when those are due. Then this is the orientation checklist, which some of you may have already kind of taken a quick look at. This is roughly everything that we want to accomplish in this first week or two. There's some leeway since I know some people were kind of coming on a little bit later and scheduling. So our goal is to have your project proposals kind of figured out by the beginning of week 3. So we'll ask that you reach out to your staff mentor by the end of this week to at least make the connection, and then schedule a meeting by the end of next week. So you definitely want to have met with your mentor by the end of next week. And then you guys will be able to talk further about your project proposals, which there's kind of like a rough outline of the notes that I've made when I've talked to your mentors about your specific projects. And then once they get a chance to talk to you and realize your interests and your, skills that you have and skills that you want to develop, then that will kind of take shape a little bit more structurally. We're going to have, some onboarding type things. Kate will have, did everyone bring a passport or something like that for I-9s? Awesome. I forgot to remind you in that email. So thank you guys for doing that. So Kate will set you guys up with our timesheet system. It's all online. And she'll also set you up with your email and anything else that onboarding related. We'll do that later on in the meeting. And then if you haven't already, we like to have headshots and bios for our website. So while you guys are here, you're staff of YVSC, and we like to have you on the website so that people can see about and learn about you. So if you can, by the end of the week, send me a photo of yourself and then a short bio. And there are some examples. If you just go to the YVSC website and go to About Us and Our Team. And I think this is linked in one of my emails, but it's easy to get to this way as well. So we have our whole staff, and then our whole board. And this is last term's interns, but we'll update this once we have everybody's stuff. So just a photo of yourself, doesn't have to be super professional, just as long as it's appropriate and a good picture of you so that we can tell who you are, and then a short kind of blurb about your background, and you can read through these to get a good idea of what that should kind of flow like. And then you can put your favorite place in Colorado if you have one, but don't feel pressure to add something there.
Do you want us to write it like they wrote it, or are you gonna go over it before you like upload it, I guess?
Yeah, you can just kind of, this one's, you have some creative freedom and it doesn't need to be, anything super specific. So I would say read 1 or 2 to get a feel for like what you should add. And then write up your own, and I'll read it before we post it, but it's not something that needs to be, incredibly like perfect and professional, but I'll be editing it for you, mostly just to make sure like grammatically everything's good. But yeah, you have some freedom with this to share what you'd like to share about yourself. And I definitely encourage you to click on any others. Like we have some young youth board members who are, I think, both high school students. And then our board is a really impressive array of folks in the community and in surrounding communities. Gail Gary, she's one of our council women, which is exciting. Terry Huffington owns Elkstone Farms. If anyone has heard of Elkstone Farms, it's a really, really awesome farm, which maybe we'll get to visit later this term. I know last term's interns visited there and they had a great time. So maybe we can see about visiting if anyone's interested. But and Terry is also on the Nature Conservancy board. So just Sarah Jones, she like helped create YVSC. She works for sustainability at the resort. There's just awesome people on this board. So I'll hopefully maybe get some of them to come and speak with you guys at some point in the term as well. And then this is our core staff, everyone here. So the organization has really grown in the last couple of years. It started out as like 2 or 3 people in, I think 2007. And about 3 years ago, when Michelle was hired on as the executive director, she started really hiring people and getting a lot of momentum, and we've grown a lot. And I feel like this is a really important organization in our community. So I'm really proud to be here. You guys should be very proud to be a part of it. It's really exciting. Let's see. Oops. So you can also kind of peruse the website to see about, these are all of those priority areas I was mentioning. So these are our main focuses. And then if you want to look at specific programs, you can look at those. And definitely if, I guess 2 of you are in resilient land and water, it's good to go through this and just kind of see like, what are some things we've done? If you haven't already, maybe you have, but just kind of see what types of programs that we do. The climate crew is a really big one that we focus on, that Ryan is the manager of. And that's probably one of our best known programs that we have, is Retree. I don't know if any of you have heard about it, but that happens every fall. So not during your internship, but if anybody is around in the fall, you're definitely welcome and encouraged to join that. But yeah, there's so many ways to get involved in this organization, and we do lots of events and have tons of programs and stuff. So that's what you're here to help support. The goal is to really give you a professional experience in a nonprofit, in a place of work that you are interested in. And we kind of really like to pair your interests with whatever the staff mentors kind of work needs are that make sense for you to help support. So some examples of projects that interns have done in the past. We've had a waste intern create a manual for restaurants on how to effectively implement composting. And so she, talked to different restaurant owners. She helped investigate with Salt and Lime, who is currently composting, helped troubleshoot, and she created kind of a brochure for how to go about the process. And that's something that we use and we put on our website. So we really encourage there to be some kind of deliverable at the end, but also it depends on your project. You may not have something like that. You'll have your project report and we'll do a presentation at the end, but depending on what you do, you may or may not have something that'll be like posted to the website. But essentially the interns help us grow programs, and they help us to kind of strengthen structure that is already in place, but they're also filling a need. So it's a really awesome opportunity to be plugged in and see what our work is and be a part of that. And we really, really value the interns' input. You usually bring a very unique and different kind of idea to the table, and you're all in your various sectors of school, and it's really interesting to see what you all bring to the table. So, and we'll talk more about projects one-on-one and with your mentor, of course. But does anyone have any questions about the projects at the moment? I know you all had a chance to look at those.
What is CAP?
Oh, great question. So CAP is Climate Action Plan.
Oh, okay.
And so the Climate Action Plan is this document that Routt County wrote, came out in 2020, and that is supposed to be essentially our sustainability goals as a community by, I believe, 2030. And I will send you a link to that document so that you can look over it. Really, all of you, it's a good thing to check out. Most cities have them too, which is an interesting thing to compare. But it's important to see what our goals are so that we can hold our town accountable, right? So it's like, that's kind of what YVSC is helping with and helping kind of guide the process. So it's a really awesome thing to be involved in. And the Climate Action Plan Collaborative is kind of like the entity that is tasked with working on the Climate Action Plan. So, and yeah, Ashley will give you tons of info about that, and you'll be able to meet her later. Unfortunately, Ryan isn't here today. He just got back from a trip and he got sick. So you guys will hopefully meet Ryan either at the end of this week if you're here on Friday, or next week. And it's just about 9:30, and I think Michelle is here, so I might go grab her. Go back to our agenda. Okay.
Was that like opposite friend?
I think
No, the one with the sprinkles.
I know, that was my secret.
You're not.
I'm like planning it out.
Oh, that was really good.
All right, hi, come on, is everyone talking about dogs? Okay, this is my new puppy, she's 7 months. She's a Colorado Mountain Dog, and she's very friendly. She's like a week with our family, so very new, so we can't quite leave her and stuff yet. She's not there, and she's moved her first day in the office. She's so snow. Yeah. So thanks for letting her join our conversation, and welcome. We're so excited. Come here, sir. Come here. Yeah. We're so excited to have you. How's the first half hour been?
Great.
Good.
Yeah, just getting comfortable. We have some delicious snacks if you would like anything,
really
Michelle.
good. Thank you.
Beard and Braid right across the street at your convenience.
It's so yummy. Have you guys eaten it before? Totally yummy.
It's the best. We're lucky it's right across the street.
I know, it's a little dangerous. It's right across the street.
That's true.
Yeah. And if we didn't have such a good coffee maker here in-house.
It's true. I haven't told them about that good news yet. So
yeah. So you have direct access to a really good coffee maker. It's one of the benefits of being an intern here. Yeah, so welcome. So how can I support? Do you want me to jump into my personal introduction, overview of the organization?
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Okay. I gave a brief overview of the priority areas, but we'd love, a little bit of background about you and just kind of your role in the organization and yeah.
Perfect. Happy. First of all, our internship program is super important to our organization. So really warm welcome, and just see yourself as a really important part of the team while you're here. Make the most, leverage your position as a YVSC intern to meet people in the community. Cody can help with those introductions. And then certainly set up time to meet with the staff. You'll see as people are coming in, everyone's, I'd say we're very productive, small, fast-paced organization, but we really value our interns. And so just say, hey, I would love to set up a meeting to hear more about your path, with anyone here. So everyone's really keen to talk with you, and we all really value our interns. So just know that you never have to feel like, oh, am I, infringing upon someone's time. It's really different. So we really have intentionally created the internship program, and we have Cody's awesome leadership with it. So do that, it's kind of like in school, take it upon yourself to make appointments with the professors, but please, seek out time with staff. I personally think everyone's amazing, and it's a really phenomenal team. So it's another really great asset. So I will give you an overview of the organization, a little bit more than you maybe have heard. With Cody, you've gone through the priority areas, you have a sense of kind of how we're structured. And then I'll do it kind of while talking about my role here too, and kind of a bit about me. So it'll be an interconnected time. And feel free to introduce me, interject with any questions that you have. So you don't have to wait until I'm done with the monologue or anything like that. So the organization was founded in 2009. So we are coming up on, in a year and a half, our 15-year mark. There's a good handful of environmental organizations based in Steamboat Springs. We are one of those environmental organizations. So we're kind of, the nonprofit sector is a really interesting sector, period. I used to teach about it, and then now that I'm part of it, I really have learned and appreciate and see the value that the nonprofit sector plays in society. So we really are kind of that connection between government and community, and pretty much outside of like church and state, most things that create our cultural practices, things we do with family and friends, a lot of those are nonprofits. So it's really a neat landscape to kind of familiarize yourself with and be, participate in for a period. The environmental nonprofit kind of sector also does a lot of work to both work with government and then work with the community to guide actions that increase stewardship, increase conservation, increase education and understanding about the environment. So I'm trained, to think about the environment, so I have a particular appreciation for it, but it's a really stimulating role and landscape of opportunity to be an environmental organization here in this area. So we were established in 2009. I joined YVSC as the executive director in 2020. I moved to Steamboat in 2016, but started right before COVID. I came to the organization because we were really stepping forward as kind of this organization and hub for climate action. And that really was put on the table when I was hired. So that was the clear scope that like, we want YVSC to build out a climate action, program and focus, show us what that looks like. And so that also aligned with what brought me to the organization. So I was really interested in that. So great alignment there. And I would say when I came in, we had, like a recycling drop-off event. We had a retreat event, which is a community reforestation event. And I came in having come from academics and just brought to it this desire to kind of think about things more programmatically. And so if we had an event, I kind of wanted to think about the why. Why is that event important? What is the greater kind of purpose, that we're really moving forward on? And so with that, as Cody gave the overview of the 5 priority areas, we really realized that if climate action is at our core, based on relevant research and kind of the ways that I was teaching and trained, is we really want to think, particularly in an area that's not entirely urban, you want to think about utilizing your land-based climate solutions in addition to decarbonization. So I had come in and had participated in the greenhouse gas inventory as a technical reviewer before I joined the organization, and saw that there was not much treatment or thinking about the natural environment with respect to climate action. I was like, that's a really important part, especially in our area, to think about how do we do climate action in rural Western Slope, Colorado. And so that was an exciting kind of area of growth. And our resilient land and water priority area is entirely new to the organization. And then we kind of built on our foundations in waste, built on our foundations of energy, and then transportation is really an important part of climate work too. So we focus on decarbonization, or taking carbon out of our energy, waste, and transportation systems. So reducing carbon emissions. And then the resilient land and water priority, as Cody went over, is really focused on increasing carbon sequestration and storage. And additionally, it's really important for increasing resilience. So we're already getting hotter and drier in the Yampa Valley, and in lots of different places, people know that change. And so resilience is really focusing on what active strategies can we pursue to increase our ability to endure, thrive, and sustain amidst hotter and drier futures. And so that's really kind of our guiding principles as an organization. Climate work in Northwestern Colorado is really dynamic and interesting. So we have a energy transition away from coal underway, particularly most of it in Moffett County, but Hayden has Hayden Station. So that's a really important kind of node, I guess, on the environmental condition. We are also part of the upper tributary of the Upper Colorado River Basin. Colorado River politics, I'm sure you've heard, like Lake Powell, Lake Mead, there's huge national energy connections to water supply. And so Colorado as a state is really important in generating water that then feeds into California and Nevada. So, but the Yampa River is one of the key upper tributaries to that. So it's a really important ecosystem. And so we're part of that. In 2021, we had 3 of the largest wildfires in Colorado's history. And so we know wildfire risk and forest condition change is happening because we're now into our 24th year of a mega drought. So it's, you know, all these like environmental changes combined with energy changes. You know, we could also be looking at the ways in which COVID has transformed who lives here, you know, the wealth gaps, different components of kind of the social landscape. We are not doing much targeted work on looking at the impacts of COVID, but certainly as we think about societal transformation. The housing authority we work with, but they're looking at the affordable housing crisis. We've been thinking about how do you create an intentional community by thinking about the sustainability of it as energy systems from the outset, or Slate Creek restoration. How do you think about utilizing ecological opportunity as part of the development concepts? So not coming in and just plunking down a lot of buildings, but thinking about how do you attenuate that with, you know, a Slate Creek restoration project, and additionally geothermal. So I saw you at the workshop, the geothermal energy potential. So those are some of the ways that we're kind of operating and what we think about. Are there any questions there before I kind of tell you about who I am? Okay, great. If you have questions, always jump in, ask anyone. We're staffed according to those pursuits. So we have currently 11 staff. So we have a waste diversion director. So she really focuses on supporting waste reduction. Paul Boney is our energy and transportation director. So he's kind of heading up those 2 sectors. Tim Sullivan you'll meet with, he's the resilient land and water director. And then I would say we kind of all operate across that community engagement component. So we're kind of staffed with directors, and we have programmatic support. So we have a hard recycle depot that increases diversion of the hard recycle work. Cody, before she joined as our forest resilience projects manager, she was helping with zero waste activities. So that's another way we show up in the community and waste. Yeah, so staff are all plugged into those priority areas in one way or the other. We are just hiring an operations assistant position, and she'll start next week. So you'll see her too. Her name's Abby. She grew up here in town too. Abby Vandergraff, if people know her or the name. But she will help with more like operations. So thinking about communications and outreach and really just organizational operations. So me, my name is Michelle. I grew up in Colorado. So I grew up north of Fort Collins. I grew up on Bonner Peak Ranch, which if you've been, have you spent time in Fort Collins or? Okay, so it's like the northern part of it. It's pretty close to Wyoming. There's a lot of Wyoming influence in Fort Collins, I would still say. But I grew up on 40 acres. I was surrounded by national forest. I had horses, spent most of my childhood outside, lots of time with my horse alone. So really had a phenomenal Colorado childhood. I loved it. I have an older sister, so she and I grew up out there and loved it. When I got to college, so I grew up in Fort Collins, did my undergraduate at the University of Notre Dame in environmental science. I did a research project that shifted my kind of focus to interdisciplinary work. I did my master's in Santa Cruz at UC Santa Cruz, and then I went on to do my PhD at CU Boulder in geography. And then I did a doctoral fellowship at the Kennedy School, so Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government, looking at science studies and thinking about the intersections between indigenous knowledges and scientific knowledges, and how we can put those together to understand environmental change. But yeah, having grown up in Colorado, I love the state. I think that we have an incredible, set of resources and assets, and I think it always would have been a dream to come back to the state. But it really was teaching. So my husband teaches at CMC. He is in the sustainability studies program there, and that's really what brought us to Steamboat. I, after finishing my PhD and doing a doctoral fellowship, started teaching at Amherst College in environmental studies. So really was thinking about human environmental relationships in relationship to the broader political economy. So why are some resources valued and not others? How do values of resources transform human relationships with each other, human relationships with place? To really study those questions, I did pretty interesting research in Tibet. So I spent like a decade in Tibet. I was studying a very bizarre fungal economy called cordyceps, so Ophiocordyceps sinensis, but it's called caterpillar fungus. If you ever want to know how to have a bizarre Halloween costume, you could be a caterpillar fungus, and you would put a fruiting body on top of your head. And you could just walk around, and that could be your costume. So if you're ever interested, there's a great piece by David Attenborough, he in Planet Earth. Cordyceps is this genus of a parasitic fungus. So it parasitizes hundreds of different species of insects. really prevalent in the tropics. And then I was studying a subspecies that's found endemic to the Tibetan Plateau. So this fungus parasitizes a ghost moth larva. So basically a really old moth when it's in its larval stage, which is subterranean and eats roots on bushes. And then gets parasitized at some point in its life cycle stage. And then Tibetans go up above 14,000 feet each spring, and they go and collect this caterpillar fungus, and then they sell it to Chinese for traditional Chinese medicine. And so I happened upon this economy when Nathan, my husband, he and I were traveling when I started my PhD program at UC Santa Cruz, but I took a turbo master's, went to see a Boulder. But when I was starting my program there, we were just traveling around the world. So we're like, we could move to California and work to subsist and pay rent, or we could just buy around the world tickets and go travel around the world for 5 months. So that's what we did. And then we got engaged at the end of it, which was good. But we went to this part of the Tibetan region of China and happened to be overlapping this fungal economy. But Tibetans would come up to us in places where, annual income might be $89 of cash revenue exchange. And then they would present these, bizarre looking fungal caterpillar with a thing growing out of its head to us. And we're like, no, thank you. We didn't speak any language at the time either. And then we would see Chinese buying them for like hundreds of dollars. And then truly like $10,000 gift baskets, crazy. So I was like, what is this? And then very little was known about it when I started it, but it was called Himalayan gold. And so I came back to the United States and met with a woman who was at Sea Boulder, and I was like, what is this bizarre fungal, economy? And she's like, oh, that's caterpillar fungus. And it is hands down the single greatest sustainability issue facing Tibetans today, and no one knows anything about it. And I was like, sounds like a good dissertation topic. And so that was when I kind of focused in on that being my dissertation topic, but really it was at, again, these intersections of, environmental condition, environmental change, society, cultural value of resources. So it all kind of held together in that way. And it was a great place to do field research. So I spent quite a lot of time there. My dog before this one was actually from Tibet. She was a Tibetan mountain dog. Very aggressive, but an amazing dog. So in Tibet, they don't pet dogs. I actually had 2 Tibetans in my PhD program. And when I brought my dog to the college, the boy like jumped and got on top of the desk across the room. And I was like, no, it's okay. She's gentle. And he's like, no. He's like, those dogs, it takes you 3 years for them to trust you. And then they're very loyal. It's like, but until then they bite. So it's very true. And so that's what I did. But I really enjoyed research. I love the process of inquiry. I was always drawn to academics because I really like that critical inquiry process. It's such an important opportunity to be able to think, critically about what's happening in the world about you, like take a step back, look at the framing of things. And so I always was very pulled to academics, like I knew I'd pursue my PhD. And then teaching, I really love mentorship. I love working with students. I think education is the most important way you can empower yourself in the world. I think it's just an incredible investment you make in yourself. So I knew I wanted to do that. And I loved being a professor. I had phenomenal students that I worked with, but I think there was a component of both the teaching and the research in Tibet that it just felt like I was not connecting my scholarship or what I was doing with like where I lived. So I was teaching Amherst College of Western Massachusetts, and you're on campus, and I would go to Tibet and I'd come back and talk about it in the classroom or talk about it at conferences, and I was like, it just felt disconnected. And so I knew I would step out of academics at some point. Yeah. Oh, I thought you asked me. No. I knew I would step out of academics at some point and was interested in joining the nonprofit sector. And then we made the move here, and we made the agreement with like one of us, if we get the job, the other one will make it work. And so I did a postdoc at CSU for a year at Rangeland Social Science. That was looking at adaptive rangeland management in the Pawnee grasslands, so northeastern Colorado, and thinking about co-management of cattle production combined with vegetation diversity and health combined with wildlife health. And so they were like, can we possibly manage for all of those 3 outcomes at the same time? And the short answer to that long 10-year study is basically you can do it, but it depends on what scale you do it at. So you might focus on wildlife, abundance in one place, cattle production in another, and vegetative success elsewhere. But trying to do all 3 in the same plot is really challenging. So I did a postdoc, and then I was teaching remotely here. Had my second child, so I have 2 little boys, Michael and Leif. Michael's 8, Leif is 5. They're both great. high energy. And then this position came open, and I think that it really hit on all of those components of my studies and pursuits and interests. And I had just before taking the position had been teaching a program in Iceland with the School for International Training. So it's an amazing study abroad program, but it was focused on resource economics, technology, and economy. And Iceland is like 100% renewable. If you try to throw something away there, you're either publicly shamed if you make a mistake by Icelanders, or you put it in one bin of, like compostable plastics, aluminum. So like, they're a small island in the Northern Atlantic. So they have figured out resource conservation, and they have an abundance of energy potential there too. But had been teaching a program there, and carbon was like already priced. The cost of throwing things in the landfill was really expensive, so people were already incentivized to recycle and reuse materials. And Icelanders are really cool. If you haven't been to Iceland, I recommend you go. Everyone learns the flute. And then at the second grade, you can stop, but everyone is taught musical theory and musical composition. And so like the music that comes out of Iceland is really amazing, from like contemporary hard rock to like really amazing contemporary classical. So I recommend Iceland. It's a great place. Anyway, this organization was like, we're doing climate action. And I was like, I want to be part of that in the community we live in, and was very grateful to get the job. And that's my long story of how I ended up here. Did field work elsewhere as well, kind of did work in Venezuela, but always kind of those intersections of environment. When I graduated undergrad, I thought I was going to do ecosystems ecology. So I was very interested in nitrogen and how it flows through our ecosystems. I'm still a dork, but I really was very dorky on nitrogen at the point. I thought it was fascinating with the ecosystems ecology class. And then I did field work, and then saw, kind of had encounters with resource use. I have time, I'll tell this. This is so it's kind of an interesting component because it tells you that story of change. But I was like a natural scientist, love natural science, really like math and science. And then I was helping a guy who was getting his PhD at Cornell. So he was studying trophic ecology in neotropical streams. So looking at, tropical streams, which have lots of diversity. And he was looking at what eats what, and then how you can use isotope analyses to study that. And so I was his field assistant. We were going and we went into Venezuela after this period of Chavez was this kind of dictator at the time, and there were a lot of uprisings because there was a huge wealth gap between people who lived in the cities and owned all these big ranches, and then very poor peasants, the peasantry, but they lived on all the land and were doing all the production. And so basically there was kind of a rural uprising. And so we were there, we had a field trip scheduled at the first time, but there were tons of uprisings and it was politically unstable. So we tabled it and then went back for a very short season for 3 weeks when it got a little bit calmer. But we went and we're staying on this ranch, and there were all of these people, kind of like squatting, camping on the wealthy landowner who was like in his walled fortress, who we'd gotten the keys from. It was really interesting. And then we were doing work at the ranch, and so I was wading in, and I was responsible for like dissolved oxygen readings. So we would go and wade into the river, and I would wade in midstream and start taking data points. And so there's this thing called a hawk probe, and you put it into the water, and then it gives you an oxygen, how much oxygen is in the water, salinity, all these things. So young woman in science, really fastidious, doing my steps, taking good data. And I was there, and then this gentleman waded in upstream with me, and he was just wearing like a loincloth, and he had this net with these little rocks around it. And he waded in directly upstream with me and started cast netting for fish. And so it's like a purse seine. So you send it out and then you pull it, and then the rocks go down and they capture fish. And so he was obviously, subsistence fishing for his family to feed them. And I was like, young scientist, asterisk, disturbance. And so I put in like disturbance by the data. So there might be an aberration in the data, right? And then it was like this moment where I was like, I don't think that he's a disturbance to this system. And I want to know why he's here. And I want to know what's driving him to be in this river at the same time I am. And if I'm this woman in science that's capable of traveling halfway around the world to capture data and then like help others understand what's happening. Like, I want to know how they relate. And so that was truly my shift from like natural sciences to the interdisciplinary sciences. So that was my course shift. And then so I waited a little bit for graduate school, And then I pursued environmental studies, and then I wanted a little more theory, and that's why I went with geography. So that's the end of my monologue, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to also be a resource and a mentor to you in whatever capacity that supports you with. I really believe in that. I've had really good mentors. I've had some bad ones, and so that makes me be a good one, I think. So also you could just, now that, you know, we're working together, and, you know, something that I really like to uphold with staff as well is just see me as a resource. I'm happy to answer questions, you know, during your time here, and then when you're off and thinking about what you want to do next. And life is full of wonderful opportunities, is all I have to say. So happy to answer any questions. Cordyceps sinensis was the name of the fungus, but Cordyceps, so it's CORDYCEP. Yes, you should watch it. David Attenborough, his voice makes like Cordyceps. Yeah. Like amazing music of fungi. It's a good thing to have up your sleeve. Yeah. Any questions, any thoughts? Have you gone through what you're excited about for your internship? Can I ask? I don't want to be redundant, but I'd love to hear what you're really looking forward to.
Not yet.
I think I'm just looking forward to, like, I'm a wildlife major in Clemson, South Carolina, but I grew up in Colorado, and I think I'm just excited to take like everything I've learned about like wildlife and ecology and like the environment, and like come here and like apply it to this environment that I love and I grew up in. And
awesome.
So I think that's really exciting.
That's great. Yeah, that's really exciting. Good.
Yeah, honestly, same. I'm studying environmental studies, and I've like looked over so many climate action projects. Like I've really gotten into like the UN climate goals and everything. So being able to like work at the community level and like further expand my knowledge on that, and then how to connect like the community to it and actually make like real action is going to be interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, kind of similarly, I think working at the community level, especially with kids, I think they're so important, and I think that we don't give them enough credit to like be able to be creative and help us with these issues, because you just train their like excitement out of them.
I mean, it's a personal reveal. Yeah. Standardized education.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I'm really excited to work with kids, and I see that's awesome. This project.
Wonderful. Yeah. Good.
Awesome.
Well, very excited. Yeah.
I'm very excited too. I'm really thrilled to get to know all of you and hopefully provide some mentorship and extend what knowledge I can to provide support for your projects and help you get the most out of this experience. So I'm very excited to be here as well.
Yeah. And you'll be great. And so Cody is going to be a wonderful resource and kind of your point of contact for questions about your projects, and will facilitate really good discussions with your mentors. And so, you know, it's a great opportunity. And so we've set it up hopefully for success for you with, you know, creating the program, and then Cody's going to be a wonderful, you know, resource and support for you, and definitely just seek out your mentors and then additionally different staff too. And then, yeah, I meet people in the community. The wolf controversy is pretty interesting. So that could be really neat to just on the side seek out conversations and learn how that's happening, you know, what's happening with it. Lots of conversations. And
I was just talking about the wolves in Yellowstone yesterday.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting, I saw the black wolf that was the first one that they saw in outside of Walden. I was like driving because I was going to see my mom and sister in Fort Collins, and was, you know, driving along between Walden and then starting to go up Cameron Pass, you know, before you take that big turn and start climbing. And the black wolf ran across the road, and I was like,
no way.
Yeah, amazing. And it was a year before they started like, you know, whoa, we've got wolves. And I was like, I just saw a black wolf. It was so amazing. Cool. Yeah, so I saw the very one that was like the originator, and then now it has cubs. But yeah, so we live in an amazing place. So it's really very special. So glad you're here.
Agreed.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for letting us know, find our footing.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Stay in the office. So
Yeah, thank you so much. I always love hearing about your background. It's
Aw.
just awesome and
Yeah.
impressive and exciting. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank
I'm
you
very
for,
grateful.
for
We're,
chatting.
we're all here for a reason, and I'm so grateful to be at YVSC.
Yeah. And thanks for bringing Snow. She's adorable.
Yeah, I'm really glad. She's
She's
not
so
trained at
good.
all. She's not trained at all yet. She doesn't sit. She doesn't come.
Yeah.
She's like, is still figuring out how to
That's
potty.
okay.
So she was in a bar with goats. Yeah. Yeah, she's really a good dog. She smelled like a goat when we first brought her home. Whoa, so we had to bathe her and it took a while. No, I know, you're so cozy. You could probably stay in your leg.
She can stay. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Are you good? It's very. I might just, I guess, just.
if she wants to hang, please, by all means.
I'll
We
get the
won't.
door.
We won't be upset about the puppy hanging.
Yeah, so she can stay. Snow, you can come with me or you can stay. I'll be in the kitchen. That's my second favorite.
Now she's gonna follow me.
All right, and then the coffee, if you need a tour. Okay, yeah, quick.
Oh my gosh, Michelle.
Yeah, I know she's sweet. She's very sweet right now. It's good.
She's like a little bear.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle.
Like golden retriever in the front, husky in the back.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So cute. Awesome. So again, that's Michelle. She's our executive director. So she's kind of like the head of the whole organization. And yeah, she's a great resource, super knowledgeable, obviously tons of experience. She's a really fantastic person to be here. So we are all very lucky to have her. So yeah, now I think we'll go into the handbook. So yeah, Isabella, if you want to kind of hand those out, and will you actually pass me one too, if you don't mind? Perfect, thank you. Okay, and I'm just gonna find it on my screen for those watching virtually.
Which one's fun? What do you like more? That Popsy one was really good. I don't know.
I know, and the poppy seed one is gluten-free. I meant to say that, yeah. I know. I know, they're amazing, I'm telling you. Sorry, I'm still getting used to where things are in this drive.
It's good. I like it.
Okay, here we go. All right, so if I can put this in presentation mode. All right, so this is a little overview, kind of more structurally than my kind of quick overview of the internship earlier. This will be a little bit more methodical. So we first have a little bit about YVSC, kind of our mission statement, and a little about the priority areas. And then specifically our goal with the internship program, connecting you guys to professionals with professional training and development, which will hopefully prepare you for future sustainability endeavors and professions that you have to come. So we really just hope to set you up really well in terms of communicating and research, strategizing, project management, all these like really important skills. So that's our goal, is to just better help you guys prepare for your future endeavors. So the schedule, as you all know, it's a 12-week program and runs until August 11th, and we'll have our weekly meetings. Did I just say weekly meetings? Weekly meetings on Mondays from 10 to 12. And then that's at the exception of next Monday is Memorial Day. So we're off that day. We observe all of the regular holidays. I think that's the only one, maybe 4th of July we might be off, but I think those are the only holidays that we'll be coming in contact with for the summer. So this next week will be the only time that this is a different time. And we'll be doing that on Tuesday from 11:30 to 1:30 if everyone's able to do that. Otherwise, we can move that around. So we have some basic expectations that we expect you guys to work within. So your time commitments on a weekly basis, the intern meeting, which you are also welcome to attend virtually if you're not able to be here in person. Obviously, if you're sick or away, that's no big deal. We can always coordinate, or I can just send you the agenda and whatever documents you need for that week. Or I can also record and send to you kind of like we're doing today. So we can always be flexible. I know everyone has other things that they do as well. So our weekly meetings, and then you'll also be expected when you do meet with your staff mentor, you will come up with a weekly time that you'll meet with them. And that can be, generally it's an hour, but it can be whatever you guys need. If you need to meet more than once a week, you can do that. If you need less time because you know your tasks and you need more time for that, like it's very up to you guys. So we want it to be kind of free for you guys to have the autonomy with your staff mentor to decide what you guys need in order to get things done. And the internship program has kind of checkpoints and things. So every week we'll meet to kind of go over that stuff that will help keep you on track. And I'll go over assignments in a little bit. And then your project work. So that's usually if you're attending any meetings with your staff mentor and any other partners, or if there's an event that you need to attend or would like to attend. But mostly we expect you to be working on your project, which will involve research, or sometimes, you know, you're reaching out to certain people. All of that will kind of be step by step with your mentor to figure out what you're doing each week. But we expect you to be working roughly 15 hours a week on your own on your project. And we do operate in the office from like a 8 to 5 Monday through Friday schedule, and you're encouraged and welcome to come to the office to do your work, but you're welcome to do it wherever you're comfortable. We have a few different locations in the office that you're welcome to, bless you, that you're welcome to use, and I'll show you guys those spaces tomorrow when we have some more people present. And anywhere between 15 to 20 hours a week is kind of your target. We don't want you to work less than 15, but also not more than 20. So something in there would be a sweet spot. So some other commitments for the internship overall. We have YVSC hosts a monthly meeting for the community. So usually they're themed, or like we actually have one today. If anyone would like to attend, you're more than welcome. They're virtual. You won't be expected to speak or anything. You can just observe. They're 1 hour long. And today's meeting is a water conservation topic. So Maddie and Tim will likely be speaking about their programs. And then we have a few other people from partners that will speak about what they're doing, and potentially about the Yampa Basin Rendezvous, which I'll tell you guys more about later, but that's an event that's next week that you guys will have an opportunity to go to if you'd like. So those meetings are monthly, and they're usually a different theme. Sometimes it's just an update, like here's what YVSC is doing, just to keep the community kind of involved. Then we also expect that you guys shadow your staff mentor for 4 hours, and shadowing can look like, you know, we obviously don't want you to just hang while they're on their computer, even though that is a lot of what our work looks like sometimes. But the best way to shadow is usually if they have meetings, you know, if I'm meeting with the Colorado State Forest Service, or if, you know, Ryan is meeting with a Colorado Parks and Wildlife staff member. Those are great places for you guys to mentor or to shadow your mentor and attend those meetings and see what those conversations look like. So that's kind of the best use of that shadowing time. So you have to do 4 hours of that throughout the 12-week course. We also host YVSC events. So summertime is usually a busy time for events, but we do have them all year round. So we're having like the Carbon Free Challenge is in June, and that's where we encourage people to not drive their cars, and then people like track points, and then we have winners and things like that. And that's usually an event that we'll host at like Storm Peak or something. That's just one example. There's also zero waste events that you're welcome to get involved with. Ryan has a couple of climate crew volunteer days that, especially the resilient land and water people, we definitely want you getting involved with that if you can. So yeah, we would like you to do 2 events throughout the term, which shouldn't be too tough. There's a lot of good ones coming up. Also, we will do individual progress reviews. So we'll do one halfway through to kind of check in, to kind of two-way talk about how you're feeling, how everything's going, if there's anything you're struggling with, that kind of stuff to make sure that you're doing well. And then we'll also do another one at the end of the term as kind of like an exit interview. And then we also have a closeout presentation at the very end. So in our final week, usually at the end of that final week, we will do a presentation. So each person will compile like a 10-minute PowerPoint, and all of that. There's a template. I'll show all of you guys that stuff, to kind of compile your work in a way that you can share it with everyone. And that has typically been like YVSC staff and then all of your intern cohort. But we love to encourage you guys to invite your any partners that you worked with in the community. We really want it to be more inclusive of community members because we all really believe in the internship program and we value it a lot. So we really think it's nice to have others coming to that. And you're welcome to invite friends and family if you'd like. And that's usually 2 hours. It might be a little bit longer this year since we do have a large cohort. So like I was saying, there's you three, there's two more. Then there's Marguerite, and then the water intern that we kind of share with this other organization. But so yeah, there's a busy time in summer. So the closeout presentations are really an exciting part of it. So the overview of kind of what you'll be working on and the structure. This is a list of your deliverables. So the things that you'll be working on step by step. And the due dates for all of this is going to be found on the drive, but we like to start with a personal development plan. And this is basically for you to identify essentially what you would like to get out of this, in terms of soft skills, which are like interpersonal skills like public speaking or, these more like undefined things, and then come up with some technical skills like maybe data collection or, organization of data or research or, there's a million things. And I have a template with some examples of what some past interns have written about that. So you can get some ideas. And that I'd like you guys to populate by next week for our meeting on Tuesday. And then we can go over, just what your goals are, what you'd like to get out of this. And then it helps give you a focus so that at the end of it, you can say, okay, that skill improved a little bit and that kind of thing. So that's something that will be due on Tuesday, and I'll show it to you on the drive. I might show you the drive more inclusively tomorrow while everybody else is here, but that's the first thing that we'll have due. And then your project proposal. So this is something that you'll be working on with your staff mentor through next week. And then hopefully we'll be able to kind of finalize those by the beginning of week 3. So you'll have about 2 more weeks to kind of work on that. And that'll be basically, it will look like that same sheet that I handed you all, but I'm going to have you guys add to that paragraph and kind of fix it up and finalize it. So those are just my rough notes that are on there right now of what me and your mentors have talked about, just to start you guys off. And then once you chat with your mentor more, that'll take shape. Then we have an annotated bibliography, which is basically a literature review. Have you guys all kind of done those before? So it's nothing super extensive, but it is nice because research skills are super important, especially as all of you are environmental studies, wildlife. So I'm sure you're all more than familiar with the research process, but it is something that I personally have found is a valuable skill to continue to work on, because the more you research things and get used to like citations and all of this, it just becomes so much easier. It doesn't feel like as much of a pain when you're doing it really regularly. And it really helps to supplement your project. So it's important to have your project that you're working on, and then you're kind of doing some background research on it just to educate yourself a little bit more on what your topic is going to be. So that is not due for a little while. So you have time for that. I wanted to try to find it so that I could be familiar with the dates. Okay. So yeah, the annotated bibliography isn't due until June 19th. So you have time for that. Right now, your biggest focus is going to be, I'm totally lost my place here. Where's the handbook? There we go. So right now your project proposal and your personal development plan are going to be the main things on your mind, and then you can start to work on the annotated bibliography. But it's good to know it's coming, and if you have free time and feel like doing research, you're more than welcome to do that. And all of this is in the drive. There's the template in there for you guys to copy and put into your own folders. And then we have a project summary. So this is kind of going to go over kind of more in depth what your project will look like. And I think I have a copy of that up here somewhere. So your project summary will look like this. You have your title, kind of what the title of your project is going to be. So this example was the Restaurant Sustainability Action Plan in the waste diversion section, and then who their staff mentor was. Quick summary, just a couple sentences of what your project is. And then we usually review what the need is. It doesn't necessarily have to be community. If it's a YVSC need, or like that initial word can be flexible. So what the need is for your project, what you're helping to support. And then organizational needs. So with YVSC, this is really like who you're helping and what like program you're helping them with specifically. And then the goal of your project is kind of like what you'd like your kind of end product to be. And like I said, for some people, it's like a brochure. For some people, it's a document. For some people, it's a more of an experience that you're summarizing. It can look very different. And hopefully the ambiguity of that helps you have more creative freedom and doesn't make you feel confused. But I'm definitely here to help you along the way if you are unsure about that. But I like to think of having a project goal of what is the question that I'm trying to answer. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this with doing research and stuff. It's you want to keep your focus really clear throughout the term so that you don't get sidetracked because there's so much to learn about. And a question, I think, really helps you hone in on what am I trying to figure out? What am I working on? What am I trying to help? So I like to put that out there, that keep this in mind, the idea of having like an overarching question that you're trying to answer. And again, that may or may not apply to whatever your project is, but it's a good thing to keep in mind. And then the objectives, and this can look very different for everyone again, but this kind of highlights more in depth what your goal is, kind of piece by piece. So all of this is not going to necessarily come together in the beginning because you don't necessarily know everything that you're going to be doing along the way. But in the coming weeks, you'll be kind of adding to this essentially. So like this person did a survey to restaurants and they created an incentive. They created incentive to refuse single-use products. And so kind of like stepwise talking about all the things that they're going to try to accomplish. And then talking about some desired outcomes. So for this one, maybe like, you know, get at least 2 restaurants to agree to composting, or, you know, decrease waste by this amount at this restaurant, or something, just to have some desired outcomes. And these aren't things that have to happen, but it's nice to kind of set some goals to know why you're doing what you're doing. And then project action. So this is kind of already laid out for you, and I might edit this a little bit because this feels just a tad redundant, but because we already have your list of all the things that you're going to do. So you don't necessarily need to fill this out in such depth, but this is kind of nailing down exactly what actions you're going to take. And then milestones, if you have any, like if you have like by the middle of the term, I would like to have this complete or something like that. Just another way to keep you on track. And then you can fill out your timeline for what you're going to do and when. And I think, and then this is the professional development plan with some info about that. And I think what we actually decided to do with this was we created a different kind of system for keeping you guys on track that's a little less kind of overwhelming. And that is we do like a stoplight system. So project tracking. So each of you have a tab on the bottom. And right now everything is blank, but you can fill in, and we've had some interns use this and like it, some don't. It's kind of up to you, however you want to keep yourself on track. But I think it's nice if you want to say like action, like reach out to Barbara from CPW, and then tell yourself when you'd like to have that done. And then you can say if it's in progress, not started, complete, or experiencing issues, and any notes or relevant links. And then again, some interns have really made use of this. Some haven't. This is kind of up to you. I think it's a nice way to stay organized. But whichever, you can kind of choose which method. I have way too many tabs open here. Here we go. If you prefer it kind of in writing like this in a list format, or you can do it the other way, whatever helps you. Then let's see, got to go back to the handbook. Okay. Your project report. So this is now getting into the last couple of weeks. Your report is going to be a document that helps you summarize your project and the technical details that highlight the methods and outcomes of your work. So we'll look at that more later on, since that's later in the term. And then your project presentation is about a 10-minute PowerPoint that you'll be giving at the very end. And then throughout the term, there's a blog that everyone will write about their project. So the blog isn't until week 8, so in kind of mid-July, so you've got a lot of time for that. And there's a template for that, and I'll show you guys that later on. But this is something that's posted to the website, kind of just to give you an opportunity to, again, like communicate and engage with the community, and have something on our website that is from you that kind of, it's usually related to your project, but it's not necessarily like, this is my project. It's usually something kind of educational about, like, related to what you're doing. And we have examples of that I'll show you guys too. And then we also do a newsletter for kind of youth and young professionals called the Next Generation Newsletter. And we'll have you guys each do a short article for that throughout the term. So each person, there's one every month. So we have that, those are kind of spread out differently. So I'll have you guys choose which newsletter you would like to participate in. The first one is coming up a little bit soon, but I think you still have time. That one will be due week 3. So hopefully someone will be able to do that. And then one in July, and then the August one will report for August and September. So those two are due on the same time, since you guys have to leave in the beginning of August. And then I ask that you guys keep track of taking pictures, and please do take photos whenever you go to events or anything that is noteworthy for you and your experience. We love to have photos. And then there's a spot on the drive for you guys to upload those as well. And then updating the website, again, it may or may not apply to your project. If you are creating something like a PDF or a guide, or some type of protocol that we would want on the website, that's something that we'll ask you to update the website, and we can help you with that as well. So that's kind of the major overview of everything that you're going to be doing and working towards throughout the 12-week term. Does anyone have questions about that?
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
For like reaching out to your mentor.
Mhm.
If you have two mentors listed, should you be meeting with both of them each week, or
That's a good question. So for you and I, it's going to be, I'll be your mentor, and then there will be times when, since we have 3 doing resilient land and water, we kind of just divvied it up, but essentially everyone in that sector, it's like Ryan and I are kind of your mentors. But we essentially have it, so I'm your main mentor, and then Ryan is your main mentor and Ellie's main mentor. But we might be kind of partnering together to help you guys depending on what your projects end up being and how we can help support that. So, and especially since Ryan's not here this week, we can meet, and I can meet with you as well since Ryan's not here, but I do encourage you, you can send emails to both of us. And then I think generally Ryan will be your main mentor though. But I'll make that more clear. You don't necessarily have to reach out to both of us every time. So I'll make sure that that's clear to you guys.
I have a couple questions too.
Yeah.
They're kind of maybe not on topic, but
That's okay.
so the climate crew, is there like a calendar for that? So then when that's happening, or so I can get to those, or
Yeah. So in the summertime, we only have a handful, which is good and bad. So we don't have, not bad, but we don't have a calendar for that, but Ryan can give you the dates of exactly what's happening and when. So unfortunately, our big retreat effort is in the fall, like I was saying. So we won't be able to attend that, but there will be certain days. I think we're doing like a regeneration survey / replanting at a burn site in mid-June. So that'll be an opportunity coming up. And I think there's maybe one in July and potentially one in the beginning of August. So there aren't so many that we have a calendar made, but we'll definitely be telling you when all of those dates are for sure. And everyone is able to participate in those, whether it's in your priority area or not. We definitely encourage you guys to get involved in whatever piques your interest. So yeah. Did you have another question?
Yeah, so those count as like hours for the internship, or is it just project hours that you're working on? Or does it all?
Yeah, they're one and the same. So you'll clock anytime you're working an event or attending an event, you'll clock those hours. So yeah, and Kate will go over timesheets and how you fill that out. But generally, anytime you're doing something YVSC related, you'll track those hours. Okay, so you'll make $15 an hour up to 20 hours a week. I definitely encourage you to work the full 20 if you can and you're able to. Especially in the summer, we really love for the interns to be involved at that full capacity. But of course, if you have a lot going on or whatnot, or it's a slower week, 15 hours is fine. And then I went over this a tiny bit, but we do use the Google Drive as like our main structure, mode of communication, and way that we organize documents and share things with each other. So once you guys get your YVSC emails, which will be here shortly, I'll share that folder with you and you'll be able to kind of poke around and see everything that's there and familiarize yourself a little bit more. And like I also mentioned, email is our main mode of communication. So make sure that you're checking that email regularly, which may or may not be something that you already do. But it's definitely how we all communicate with each other. So that's a good thing to get in the habit of doing. And then here's a link to our website. If you haven't looked at that yet, I definitely encourage you to check that out and familiarize yourself more with the organization and some of our programs. And so this next page is kind of a block schedule of the flow of the internship. So some of this is repetition, but essentially your first 2 weeks is that beginning orientation stage. We're onboarding, you're meeting your mentors, you're familiarizing yourself / creating your project with your mentor, and identifying your personal goals, what your expectations are, just kind of getting in the flow of being a staff member here. And then the next 2 weeks is the discovery phase, and project scope. So here's where you're really kind of honing in on your project, getting more details, starting to come up with tasks and what it's going to involve, starting to come up with an idea of what you're going to work towards, if you are going to have kind of a final deliverable or if you're not, and coming up with your literature review as well. So doing some of your background research on your topic. And then the next 6 weeks is kind of like the meat and potatoes. You're kind of in the flow. This is where your project is really developing and being implemented. So this is where you're directly working with your mentor and managing your project. You're usually attending meetings, you're doing your shadowing hours, you know, starting to really take care of everything that you're going to be doing and putting it into motion. And then the last 2 weeks is where we're starting to come up with our final presentation and our project report and really wrapping everything up. So we do a couple of, when we have our weekly meetings, the last couple of weeks, we'll have you guys go through your presentations with your cohort here. And that'll help you, because practice is like the most effective way to have a happy presentation. So we really want to give you the opportunity to do that and get feedback from your peers and from me and dial it in and be comfortable and have you have the opportunity to go through it a few times in person with a small audience so that you're feeling really prepared. And then, yeah, you'll finalize your project, and that final week will be touching things up and having that presentation ready to go. And then here's your contact list. This is everyone at the organization. I haven't added, like Michelle mentioned, we just hired a operations assistant, and she's not on here because she hasn't even started yet, but I will update it in the Google Drive. So if you do ever need to contact her, it'll be on that version.
Yeah, just on this printed version in the document, it's right, but I just think some phone numbers are mixed up a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
oh no.
I think it looks like they just got moved or something.
or moved up, yeah, because Tyler had my phone number.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's so funny. Okay, hold on.
I think I just checked the document like last.
Is this wrong?
That's wrong.
This is wrong.
That's
wrong.
The document.
But the Google Doc is right.
No, I think the one that we filled out is good. Yeah, that is good.
What did I do? Okay, sorry about that.
Just so you know.
Yeah, I think this is, let me fix this here. So are they all shifted up one? Is that what it looks like?
Well,
So is
Mine
this
Chloe. So
and Ellie has mine, so I think it got
Oh, jumbled up, yeah.
oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna figure that out when I stop recording so that Tyler and Ellie don't need to deal with me putzing with that. I will fix that. And then the last couple of pages are just frequently asked questions, which can be useful if you guys think of anything, or if you read through these, it might answer some questions that you might have. So I already went over this, but usually we're here from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and you're encouraged to come to the office. It's one of those things. It's kind of like at school, the more you're around and the more you're involved, the more help you'll get, the more you'll get out of the experience, but it is up to you where you'd like to work and when. There are spaces around the office, which I'll show you tomorrow when Tyler's also here, but basically the kitchen, the front foyer, and then upstairs, there's some space. So even if all of you are here, there should be plenty of room for you all to be able to work. And I can give you guys the Wi-Fi password as well. Oh, and generally moving forward, bring your laptops if you have them every time you're here, just in case we need to check on any documents together. If you can't work or you're sick or you have a vacation, all of that is totally reasonable. We just ask that you let us know. And also when we set you up with the Google Drive, we'll have you populate your calendar. So that if you are going to be away on a trip, I can just click Macy's calendar and I can see, oh, she's going to be away this week, so I should get in touch with her, or, what have you. So we'll go over that more together when we have you set up, but we'll have you make your calendar. And like I said, it's totally acceptable to go away on vacation or if you're sick. And the next question, you're definitely encouraged to get involved in other priority areas outside of the one that you're directly working with. Any sort of events, or even if you just have questions, like if you're just interested in what Paul does and he's not your mentor, feel free to reach out to him and say, you know, would you be able to chat with me? Although throughout the term, we're going to have like more in-depth intros, kind of like how Michelle came in and gave you a lot about her background. We'll do that with all the staff so that you guys get a chance to kind of hear about what everyone does and hear about their backgrounds. It was always helpful for me to hear about just how people wind up where they are. And it's kind of comforting to hear all the different ways that people get where they are. So we'll have an opportunity to talk to everyone there as well. Or if you want a staff member to connect you to someone else that you know that they work with, all of that is fair game. What should you expect from the internship? So generally, having a good understanding of nonprofit work and kind of where we sit in the community and local government, and really, really promoting your professional development skills, executive functioning, and kind of organization, all of that stuff, public speaking. All of these things are going to be really important for any job that you pursue in the future. And then hopefully some technical skills as well. Whether that be data collection or you're doing communications or marketing, or there's so many different things you might be involved with. So kind of that real work experience is what we're hoping to provide you with. What have some interns done after their internship? So some people go straight into work if they're done with their school. A lot of people continue on with their education, or they go into another nonprofit position, or they get a leg up on another internship. Some have pursued their master's, and a couple have actually continued to work with YVSC. So the sky is really the limit, but we do believe that it sets you up really, really well for whatever your future plans are. If you encounter any concerns or problems, definitely let me know first. And if I feel like it's something that we should pursue further, I'll talk to Michelle about it. But this can be anything. Please let me know if there's any concerns or issues whatsoever. And you can receive credit for this internship if you are interested. You just need to let me know, and then we can coordinate with CMC. Nathan, actually Michelle's husband, is the program director at CMC. I don't know. Have you met Nathan?
Oh,
yeah. He's lovely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he's lovely. So he can help us coordinate getting you course credit. So if that is something you're interested in, let me know soon so that I can kind of have that organized, and I can get the ball rolling with that by the end of the term. And that is the end of my handbook spiel. Does anyone have questions about any of that?
I have a question about like time off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning on like going on a trip in the summer or something. Like I was thinking of planning it to like I'd go to the meeting on Monday and then like miss the next one or something. How like long? What's too long? Basically.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, and it also depends on.
Because the work is flexible on the computer, so
yeah, so you're able to work as long as it. And again, it's kind of. You have the autonomy to kind of create your schedule. So I'm not here to tell you how long you can go on vacation. It's also up to you if you have like financial restraints or anything. And as long as your project is keeping on track and you're communicating with me, you have the freedom to make your schedule. So just let me know when you end up wanting to go. And I would just say be thoughtful about due dates and like what you have going on, but we do want to leave all of this up to you so that you really get the professional experience of kind of managing yourself. So I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do in terms of your free time and your vacation. And I hope that that empowers you to just kind of coordinate how you need to. And I'm happy to help you with, figuring out if we need to meet separately, if you miss a meeting or anything like that, we can do that too. So yeah. Awesome. So I'm going to go and grab Kate. She's going to do some onboarding stuff with you guys, setting up emails. Did anyone bring their laptop by any chance? It's okay. It's okay. Kate will probably send you an email, and then you can just do this when you get home later. It's no big deal. But in the future, definitely bring your laptop whenever you're in the office, just in case. But I forgot to remind you guys about that, so no big deal. I'm just going to check my agenda really fast so that I make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Okay, so I'm going to go and grab Kate, and we'll do your guys' onboarding stuff.
Hi, so this is Kate. Hi.
Kate, I'll let you give your quick intro.
Awesome. Do you want me to talk about like myself?
No, you can just do just a quick to say who you are and what you do here.
Yeah, I'm Kate. Chloe, I think we met before. I used to work at Service. I am the communications and program manager for YVSC. So I do a lot of our marketing, events planning, kind of just serve in advisory capacity for different programs and that sort of thing. And in addition to that, right now I'm managing a lot of our admin type work. We're actually bringing on an operations assistant next week, so she'll be taking over some of those duties for me. But yeah, we've got a lot of great events, so I help with those. We've got our carbon free challenge coming up in June, which you all should sign up for. It's a month-long event where people track their miles using alternative transportation, and they're competing for different prizes that we get from local sponsors, which is really fun. So definitely sign up for that, and stay attuned to all the different things we have going on throughout the summer. It's a really good time to be an intern because there's so much going on, so you guys will have a really fun summer, I think. But yeah, so today we'll just take care of some of the housekeeping stuff. You all should have gotten an email invitation this morning to your personal email with information about how to activate your YVSC email. So it'll have a preset password on there for you, and you can use that to log in, and then you'll just change it to whatever password you want. So if you all don't mind, if you've got your phones or computers, let's go ahead and activate that email. And let me know if you didn't get the invitation email for any reason.
Oh yeah, are you able to do that on your phone as well?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, great, perfect.
Brought my laptop and I forgot the charger.
Oh no, that's okay.
That's the one.
Yes,
The
so the Wi-Fi password is capital. Is everybody ready for that?
Which you can use either of them, either YVC or YVSC 5G. Oh, right. Great. Yes, ready.
Okay, so it's capital W 0 RLD PE @ S. And I can repeat that if anyone needs it.
Oh, can you repeat it one more time? I was in cap lock, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Capital W 0 RLD PE @ S. Did it work? Yeah. Cool.
I'm gonna grab my computer just so I can show these guys harvest and
Perfect.
sort of stuff while I work on getting on there.
Okay. And if you ever need a password to log on to any other programs through YVSC, we can give you that information as well. Snow. Hello.
So funny.
He is so cute. It's crazy.
Can I bring my dog?
All right. Should I get on to Harvest here? I'm recording my screen on Zoom.
That might be a good idea, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Got activated. So Cody, I don't know if you were gonna go over this, but one thing you'll want to know about your emails is you can copy, once you get an email from one of our YVSC emails, you can copy like Cody's email signature and just paste it into the setting where you can change the email signature. Do you guys know how to do that?
I can go, I'll go, I haven't gone over that, but I will.
I wasn't sure if you had a plan, but yeah, so Cody can show you how to do that. And then so I'm sure Cody's gonna tell you, but we all primarily communicate via email, so just expect to be checking that really regularly. What did you get into? She's like, I went through. And yeah, so and you'll go over that with your staff mentors too. We can kind of talk about like primary modes of communication and that sort of thing. And then I guess we could go over getting your Google Calendar set up too. Are any of you not used to using Google Calendar or not familiar with it? Pretty familiar with it? Cool. Yeah. Okay. So you can add, and your staff mentors can show you how to do this, but you can add all of their calendars so that you can see it and use that to schedule meetings with them or know when is a good time to talk with them. So definitely do that with your staff mentor. And now I can show you guys Harvest, or if you're all ready. Are you still working? I know Chloe, what's everybody else's name? Isabella. I'm Macy. Awesome. Good to meet you guys. Are you ready to go over Harvest? So I'm just gonna go down there.
Yeah.
Are you not even? Oh.
I'm just on my own personal Harvest, which
if
that's okay.
So,
oh no.
Do you mind if I just take it and I'll drive? Okay. So Harvest is our time tracking software. Obviously we need to know how many hours you work to pay you. That's standard. But we also use this time tracking software because in a nonprofit where a lot of the work that we do is grant funded. And so we a lot of the grants and projects that we have to know how many hours we're working within that grant or project because we have to invoice or report on that time. So in Harvest, and everybody's got their set up differently. So you're good. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to the week view because sometimes that's a little bit easier. So in Harvest, you can do it day by day if you'd like to, or week by week. And I've gone ahead and added you into a bunch of different, they're called projects in Harvest. And so you can see here, we've got community education, which is one you guys will track in kind of regularly. So any time that is spent in these intern meetings, that would be tracked under community education. Other than that, most of your time is going to be tracked under your specific priority area. So resilient land and water or
energy or the climate action plan, you're going to track your time working on your project within that priority area or within the specific grant funded project. Your staff mentors should go over with you which projects you should be tracking under, so that information you'll get from them. But to add a project to track time under it, you just go to add row up here, and then you can select the project or task. There's a ton of different ones in here. You guys won't have this many, but there still are a lot. So again, it's just up to you and your staff mentor to be clear on which project you should be tracking time under. So I will let the staff mentors go over that with you. If for any reason there's a project that they say you should be tracking time under and you're not already added to it, let me know and I can go in and add you to that project. And so there's two different ways you can track time in Harvest. You can track time as you're actively doing something. So I'm not going to mess with Cody's because she's got one going right here. Or you can enter time retroactively. So you can look back at the week and say, oh, I did, 3 hours on Monday in resilient land and water, an hour on Tuesday in community education in our intern meeting, and then so on and so forth. The way that our pay periods are set up is the pay period is the 1st through the 15th and then the 16th through the end of the month. And the pay dates are the 5th and the 20th, unless those fall on a weekend or a holiday, and then it's the next closest business day. So I will usually reach out to you guys just because your hours are so variable. I'll usually be reaching out to you at the end of those pay periods to just say, hey, is your timesheet all good to go for the week? And if it's not, you'll just go in and enter your time. And if it is, you can just let me know everything's good. Any questions on Harvest?
Are we clocking time as like any time of year, basically?
Pretty much. So anytime you're actively working on your project or in these intern meetings, you can be tracking time. And then you really want to try to be cognizant that you're staying within that 20 hours per week and not going over that. If you are doing things that might lie without that aren't within your priority area or your project, like say you guys are working in resilient land and water, but you really want to go to, what's a good example of an event that's not in resilient land and water?
Like a zero waste event.
Yeah, well, the zero waste events are different though. Okay. So say you're
free challenge if they want to go to that.
No. Yes and no. So it's really on a case-by-case basis, but say you're working in resilient land and water and there's a waste diversion education workshop that you really want to go to because you're interested in it. That's an opportunity to just talk to Cody and I and say, hey, there's this opportunity that's not within my priority area or related to my project, but I really want to attend it. We may have you just log those as volunteer hours, or we may be able to pay for those. So just talk to Cody and just say, hey, should I log time for this or not? So just a case-by-case basis sort of situation. But yeah, you guys will do the zero waste events, probably help with some of those throughout the summer. I think you have 2 events that you're required to help with as a part of the internship. Obviously, if you're helping and adding capacity to those events, you'll definitely track time for those. But if you ever aren't sure, just ask Cody. Any other questions about the time tracking? Well, good deal. It's pretty simple and easy to get the hang of. It's just really making sure that you and your staff mentor have talked about where you should be tracking time under. That's the biggest thing.
Can we track time at like any time?
Yeah, so if you don't have to be here to track time, if you're working on your project at home, if you're doing some late hours but it's project related, definitely feel like you can track that time. So yeah,
weekends are cool too.
Yep, totally fine. Awesome. So that's that.
Okay.
Did you have any? Sorry.
I wasn't sure
interrupted
if
you.
you wanted to do I-9s or.
Yes, yep, I'm gonna do all that with you guys. I'll give this back to you and you can just put it on whatever you'd like it on. So yeah, we'll just fill out your words.
Okay, awesome. I just need to sign it. Perfect. And I ripped it out the I-9, but I lost it.
Oh, no problem. I've got them. Extras. Go. This is the direct deposit form. This is the bank info, so you know where to submit your pay. Thank you. Do any of you guys need a pen? Yeah, no, you guys have one.
I've got one someone can borrow.
Thank you.
Like,
Get that one.
here's one as well. Thank you.
And then while you guys are filling this out, I'm here to answer any questions. So it's gonna be a little bit confusing. And then I'll also take your passports or whatever form of identification you brought and I'll make copies.
I don't have an I ordered my like active passport.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it, so I don't have a current one.
Let me see what it says. There's alternatives.
I brought my old one. I can bring in my license and my birth certificate.
Yes, if you could, and actually I think for yeah, so I'll take license and if you've got a yeah, either social security card or birth certificate is fine.
Okay.
So don't worry about that one today. Just next time you come in, bring those other two.
Okay. I have my license now. Do you want that now or should I just set time? Okay.
That's a question. So I learned this year during my taxes that if you have multiple jobs and you don't claim something or like whatever, that you really get screwed when you do your taxes.
It's so weird how they do it now.
And so I don't know like if I should be like withholding extra or if that's something that I need to work about.
I can't tell you what to do, but there's the worksheet on the back that can kind of help you calculate how much extra withholding you should be taking. So and even I think on the back of that first page too, there might be some information. Otherwise, you might ask CMC, what's her name? The woman that's like helps with some of the finance stuff. They might be able to like just kind of talk to you about how much you would withholding to be withholding.
I think 0 usually means that you want everything taken out. Every paycheck.
I'll email for that.
And then I think if you enter 1, that you adjust it so that you're keeping some of it. What I'm remembering is 0 usually means you don't want to keep any of it and they're going to take as the highest amount of it.
No, 0 means that you don't want extra withheld.
Okay.
So if you put like $100 in the extra withholding, it's going to take $100 extra in taxes out of every paycheck.
Okay.
Yeah, so 0 means that you don't want extra withheld.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, was that what you were saying?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I was told to claim 0. But then I just like,
did you have to end up like paying taxes?
Oh yeah, I had a lot. It was really unfortunate. It was definitely a mess, and I had to learn that.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So I might have to do this. Do it again.
You can bring it back tomorrow. I just need it by, today's the 24th. I won't need it until the 30th at the absolute latest. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'll bring it back.
Okay, sounds good.
I can bring it back in like also a couple hours.
Okay, yep, no problem.
Okay, will you be here all day?
Yep.
Okay, I'll just come back.
And if I'm not, you can just drop it on my desk right there. So yeah, you might try to call like some tax accountants in town too. I just make sure they won't charge you, but I think that they should just like
let you know.
Yeah.
I know I've made some mistakes on my taxes too, and I don't want to also advise.
Yeah.
I usually still to this day ask my mom because she
Yeah.
was an accountant for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend calling your parents.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're more comfortable, I'm sure
sister-in-law is an accountant as well, so I might just ask her because this
it comes
question
up
always
every
comes
time.
up.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
And I never know how to answer it.
Yeah,
So,
I know, because my mom, she's in HR, and I was like, Mom, I don't want that to happen again. And she was like, claim 0. But I was like, yeah, my mom just claimed 0 for all of it.
That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
I've also had weird things happen to me.
Yeah, because I've claimed that before on other paychecks and still gotten taxed. Like last year I did that. And so it's like,
and
really sucky.
The only time that should be an issue is like if you got moved into a new tax bracket. And I mean, but that's only if you're making like a larger so props to you if you are, but never not stage yet. So we'll go take copies of these and I'll be right back.
Yeah, so if you guys are all wanting to take those home and gonna bring them back, that's fine.
So for the
lady.
Yeah. Oh, I don't do anything for this.
Yeah.
I think it's for me.
I know it's tax stuff.
Very lucky.
Tax stuff is very confusing.
And they make it like that on purpose, it seems like. They're like, we're gonna get like $700 out of it.
They do make it confusing on purpose. The government does that with a lot of things. Okay. So this is, we're wrapping up this meeting for today. Kate will finish scanning those and hand them back. You guys can take these forms home and bring them back, whenever before the 30th. So by Friday, but Tuesday at the latest, right? Tuesday is the 30th.
To bring the paperwork back. Yeah. The 30th at the latest. I don't know what day that is. That's Tuesday. And we're closed Monday. So yeah, you can bring it back tomorrow. Yes. That'd be great. Yeah. Anything else? I think that's it. Is there anything else for onboarding that you need? Well, I don't think so. And then I think Cody's told you to get your headshot and bio to us as soon as possible if you haven't already. So we like to do a little announcement about you guys. So other than that, we should be all good. But yeah, if any questions if any questions come up that are kind of HR related or payment related, feel free to come to me with those kind of things. So are all of you taking your paperwork home with you? Okay. No, awesome. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly review some of the things that you guys should be thinking about for this week, and then we'll kind of adjourn this meeting for today. So definitely make sure your email is set up. I think you guys are all good. Tyler and Ellie, you guys will be taken care of tomorrow.
Your personal development plan, at least take a look at that. That's the place where you're setting your goals for soft and hard skills. The template is kind of an example of another intern's. So try to use that as more of a guide. Your headshot and bio, like Kate just mentioned, you can email that to me and Kate. We'd love to have that by Friday. The personal development plan is due Tuesday, our next meeting. For week 2, we have a meeting tomorrow. Sorry to make that confusing. Make sure you add the YVSC calendar to your drive. We can go over that together tomorrow, so don't worry about that. Make sure you peek at the orientation checklist, which is kind of repetitive of everything I'm saying now, but just in writing. And then set up a meeting with your staff mentor. So I definitely encourage you all to reach out via email. I think Ashley might be here, so I was going to introduce you two right now if you have a minute. And then Macy, you and I can chat a little bit after this also if you'd like. But definitely reach out to Ryan, Chloe, and I know he's on his computer. He's just quarantined to his house. I know. Always happens to me too. But yeah, so that's kind of a review of today, and we'll meet back here tomorrow morning at 9 as well. And we'll have a little bit longer of a meeting tomorrow. We might go over some of the same things quickly for Tyler and Ellie. But hopefully going to be getting into some more information that we haven't talked about today, and then meeting the rest of the staff. And then we're going to do more of an intensive one-on-one with Tim as we start getting to know all the staff mentors, since he's going to be leaving in a couple of weeks. I wanted to make sure you guys got to know him a little better before he leaves. So that is it. I'm going to stop this recording. I can figure it out. Oh, thank you. No matter how many times I use Zoom, it's like